Welcome back, guys. We just finished wrapping up the previous video where I removed the fuel lines, the fuel rails, the injectors, and the TGV housings off of my STI. It is the same day if you just came from the previous video. I just have a couple hours left, but I plan to utilize them to its fullest. I still need to remove the downpipe and the stock turbo off of the STI, which is the stock VF48 that came with the STI, because we're getting ready to install Precision's 5858 turbo into the STI. This thing is going to look beautiful and it's huge. I mean, I already saw the stock VF48 and I've seen this turbo, and I'm going to show you guys the comparison. It's going to be night and day. The stock VF48 does not compare to the Precision 5858. Now, fair warning, I will not be covering the removal process of the downpipe in this video because I've already gone into great detail in the two previous videos I've posted about the downpipe on this channel. So if you need more explanation or wondering how to remove the downpipe, make sure to check out those two videos. So the plan right now is for me just to get to work, and you guys will catch up with me once I get to the turbo removal. It's gonna be my first time ever removing the VF48 from the STI, so we'll be tackling this challenge along together. The downpipe is off of the car. Now I have a Grimsby 3-bolt up pipe to demonstrate where the bolts and nuts are that we're gonna have to remove. So we have these 3 studs facing the car right now. If I was looking at the car, you'd be seeing the turbo, the compressor right here. So there are 3 nuts on these studs we're gonna have to remove. We can get those off from the top. And then now there are 2 nuts and bolts we're gonna have to go underneath the car for, I believe. I'm not too sure. And then there are coolant and oil lines running to the turbo, of course, that we'll have to remove. But we'll figure all that out once we get over to the car. I don't think it's going to be very difficult. Hopefully in the next 20 minutes, we can get the turbo out of the car. There's one of the nuts we'll have to be removing. There's the second one kind of sitting there in the dark. And then the 2 I already mentioned from down below. This is the oil feed line we'll have to unscrew as well. This one that goes to this fitting here. And then we'll see what is next. We're live, we're rolling. Right, here we go, first one. Okay, it's stuck, it's not going anywhere. That means that because it gets heat cycled here so much, these nuts are probably gonna need some motivation. So I'm gonna grab the 1/2-inch ratchet. And then when we go reassemble everything, I'm gonna make sure to put anti-seize on everything. All right, second attempt here. Let's see if that WD-40 did anything. All right, that's pretty loose. In order for me to get that nut right underneath this oil line, I'll have to remove the oil line here. So I'm just going to break it free first. Oh, that came off pretty easily. Now I think, now that the top one's free, I'm gonna have to loosen this with 2 wrenches. I believe I will need a 14 millimeter. All right, break time. All right, guys, so off camera, I did end up loosening the oil feed line here. This thing was a bitch to take off. You just need 2 17 millimeter wrenches, and trust me when I say this, you just really need to believe in yourself and you'll just get it, because I had to pretty much squeeze both hands in here and pry so hard this way. It finally did come out because now I can loosen this by hand. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna get some towels here on the bottom of it in case oil starts to leak out of it. Should be fine. Okay, great, that's out. Now let's do the top. And again, we're removing this oil feed line here just because there's a nut underneath this line that I need to get to. And now that this feed line is out of the way, I will put it off to the side here. And now let's get this nut all the way down here and break it loose. Oh, these things are really torqued down. All right, so now I'm grabbing some needle nose pliers because there are coolant lines that run into the turbo. I need to grab the clamp and move it back just like we have in the previous videos. And that way I can pull the lines off. Here's that one. Ooh, awesome. That coolant line is now off. With this coolant line that we just removed, we'll move it out of the way. And there's one more line we need to get to that's right underneath the turbo right there, the ones with the loops. So we're gonna do the same thing, and then that should free all the coolant lines going to the turbo. Just go ahead and get these nuts off now. Yep. So the last thing we need to do is get this clamp loose that is stuck on the very bottom. It's just stuck. There we go. Nice. And here is the stock turbo on the STI, the VF48. It looks a lot bigger on camera, but I promise you guys, it is so small. Spilling coolant everywhere. Now that we finally got the VF48s, we are one step closer to getting done with the STI teardown. Before we go, I do want to show you guys where all the locations of everything I removed in case some of the angles weren't good or the explanation wasn't clear enough. So the oil feed line starts up here, right where my finger is. This is one of the coolant lines. This bottom part I'm holding with a rag. This one is actually an oil feed line. This part, you're gonna have to get some needle nose pliers and get that clamp I was showing you guys earlier. Have somebody squeeze that clamp together. That way you can pull up the turbo once all the bolts and nuts are free. And just to show you guys the flange of the turbo here, this is where the nuts are. So you have one here, and one there. And guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I'm very happy with how everything went down. Make sure you subscribe for the next video coming out to the channel where we remove the secondary air pump. Well, the rest of it, I should say. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one.